Hi, Laura. It's Christina from The Upcoming. It's so lovely to speak with both of you today. Congratulations on the film. Would you like to start by sharing what On Falling is about and what people can expect going in?
Unfalling kind of follows the life of Aurora, a Portuguese migrant who works in a fulfillment center in Scotland. And it follows her in a week where she's kind of struggling to make ends meet and to a degree find kind of purpose in her life. And it's very much about themes of isolation, alienation, and, our kind of need to connect with others.
And can you share what sparked the idea for the film?
Yeah, so in my last short, I started looking into the gig economy, and at the time I stumbled in the job of a picker because I was looking into the logistics industry, and it's an industry that is rife with precarious labor. And as soon as I discovered that job, I kind of thought that, kind of went down the rabbit hole, and it was kind of a revelation to a degree because, when people are ordering parcels online and the parcels arrive the next day, companies tend to brag about their technological innovation that has allowed that to happen, when actually you're talking about an actual human that is in a large place surrounded by items rushing to collect it. And that to me showed how, it's like there's this invisible labor we're not aware of to make this happen. And I think it's important to look at if this progress is progress that we want and what the cost of that progress is. So then it led to the making of the film. Yeah.
What would you like your viewers to know about wage slavery?
I mean, there is so much, it's it's a system of work that exploits people at many levels. But I also think, to me, more importantly, is to think about it in bigger terms. Of course, the wage isn't enough. Of course, the shifts are too long, and and companies are taking profits that are kind of insane and paying very little tax. But to me, it's kind of more fundamental to actually think of work, rethink it, because that to me is kind of rethinking the way we live. And I think more and more it's kind of urgent to see life in a different way. Yeah, and it's so normalized. I hope the film allows for that perspective, for us to all take a step back and look at the way we live and kind of think, could there be another? And that to me is maybe what drives me to make films. Yeah.
And when did you realize that it was the right time to make On Falling for you and for the world to see?
I guess right before I started making On Falling was, writing it was before the pandemic. And then, of course, mid-pandemic, the whole world shut, and all of a sudden this job I was like right in the middle of researching became, considered an essential job. And, everyone was relying on on these workers to like have their deliveries at home. So all of a sudden it felt actually like really relevant.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, because the interest was already there before, it didn't like spark okay, this is an urgent story to tell.
What was a particular detail that you felt was very vital to include in the final cut?
I think maybe all the small talk, that is something that usually doesn't get noticed, which is fine because I guess that's how we all kind of interact with each other a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But that to me was something I was quite mindful of like including in the film, because I guess from a lot of conversations I was having with pickers, something that kept coming back was how hard it was to connect with others around them due to, once the shift really doesn't allow, the breaks are not long enough for people to get to know each other. But also at the end of the day, people are so tired, there's not enough time to like bond, to have meaningful relationships. Yeah, I guess conversations then become really superficial and they become kind of around the same topics all the time. So that to me was important. But I think it's one of those things, it's just kind of part of the film. Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from the entire process?
Stick to your guns. I think it's like if you really truly believe in something and you've thought through it. I mean, I did think through a few things.
Yeah. You did think through.
I did think through a few things, But yeah, I think if there is something you want to say and there's a specific ways that you want to say it, and you really believe that is going to be meaningful, try and test it, experiment and see if it works out. Take the risk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.